Hello, you guys. I hope all is going well with you. If you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and hit the like button, you guys. It will help my videos be seen by more people. I'm trying to grow my little channel and I need your help. So let's get to this story. Dr. UMAR Johnson, who is a psychologist, he gave his opinion on the NAACP giving Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. The award was actually for Zion Wade, the biological son who has now gotten the right by a judge to change his gender and his name to Zaya Wade. Against his biological mother's wishes, by the way. She wants her child to become an adult before he makes these types of decisions, which I totally agree with, because once he begins, who knows if he's not already on hormone therapy, but if he isn't, once he begins the hormone therapy, the rest of his life is going to change. He will be literally medically castrated, you guys. And in my opinion, I think it is one of the most evil, malicious things that you can do to your son. And anyway, let's listen to Dr. UMAR go in on these so-called parents.
I am here to talk about a very serious issue. I will not joke about it. There's nothing funny. A couple of days ago, Mr. Dwayne Wade and his beautiful wife, Gabrielle Union, accepted an NAACP Image Award on behalf of their biologically born son. Not Gabrielle's biologically born son, she's just the stepmother, but a child who was born Zion Wade as a biological male 15 years ago was just granted the legal right to change both his gender and his name. And this, for some, is a cause of celebration.
Celebrating what? I mean, I totally agree with Dr. UMAR. I've listened to the entire video, you guys, and this is what makes sense. He is usually, very animated. He usually throws in a little bit of humor into his videos, but he is super serious here. And I totally agree with his attitude and his opinion on this. This is a serious issue. And I don't have children, but guess what, you guys? I still give my opinion. I do not think that any child should be allowed to start hormone therapy. Now, you can't get a driver's license until you're 16. You can't vote until you're 18, and you cannot drink until you're 21. So what is the hurry? What is the rush to transition children? What is it? I mean, to me, it's the devil. It's evil. If you are 18 or over and you decide that you want to transition, that you are not happy with your biological sex, and guess what? That will never change. Never. You can do all the surgeries and mutilation that you want, and you will still be biologically male or female.
Not only am I wearing my activist hat as I discuss this most sensitive and controversial issue, But I'm putting on my doctor of clinical psychology hat. I'm putting on my child therapist hat. I'm putting on my educator hat. I'm putting on my certified school psychologist hat. Now, there's two comments that Dwayne Wade made in his acceptance speech that I'm having trouble with. And I want to say right from the gate, I'm not here to pile on to all of the other criticism that the Wades are receiving as a result of this situation. I feel how I feel, but I think I feel it for different reasons. Because as a statesman for the African race, any type of scheme or scam, campaign or agenda ran on African children that threatens the survival of our people is something I have to speak out against. And so I'm going to offer my comments and criticism with the greatest respect. And I want to affirm that I do not support, encourage, nor condone violence against any human being for reason of race, class, culture, religion, sexual orientation, or sexual preference.
And I second that. Everybody has a right to be safe, and no one has the right to attack anyone because of those specific things, okay? So I agree, we are not condoning violence. I am not condoning violence against anyone. But in my opinion, doing this, allowing this child and other children to change, to transition, I think that is violence. I do. Violence against these children.
Zaya Wade should not be harmed, no matter how much we may disagree.
Totally agree.
With that child's parent allowing this to happen. No homosexual, no lesbian, no bisexual, no transgender, no intersex or asexual person should be harmed.
Exactly.
For what they have done. I do not support violence against LGBTQ or against anybody else.
Exactly.
No way, no how. I don't support it. I disagree with the lifestyle.
Amen.
But I do not advocate violence against anyone, and I want to make this very clear. Because when we have these conversations with the rainbow community, there's always this agenda to try to turn people who disagree with the rainbow agenda into people who wish harm against the rainbow people. Exactly. That is a lie, it is dishonest, and it is disingenuous, and I would hope that members of the rainbow community would have enough maturity to not try to paint people as enemies just because they don't support your decision. With that being said, I'm concerned that the NAACP, although a white funded, founded, and controlled organization, I have a problem with the fact that the NAACP would give an award to a child and his family. I have a problem with the fact that the NAACP would give an award to a child and his family for undergoing mutilation of their reproductive organs.
So you guys, I'm just going to cut in. I don't think that the child has had the surgery, and I don't know if he's on the drugs to suppress his male hormones, and so I don't know that, and I don't know if Dr. Umar knows that, but that is exactly what happens. They are mutilated, and it's just a horrible thing. Once these kids start taking these drugs, they will never reproduce because they won't reach puberty, okay? Now, this young man started his he came out around 11 or 12 years old, which Dr. Umar will address. I don't know if they started him at that age because that is pre-puberty. And if so, he probably won't be able to have kids. But we don't know. I don't know if he was started or not. So, it's just a sad situation.
I have a problem with that. I have a problem. All the things black children are doing out here,
yes,
worthy of recognition. All of the things black children are doing out here, worthy of recognition. All of the things black children are doing out here, worthy of recognition. You have black children inventing things. You have black children scoring extremely high on these white racist standardized tests. You have black children saving people's lives. You have black children starting their own businesses and becoming multimillionaires. You have black children out here engaging in some of the greatest humanitarian work we have ever seen. But
let me just cut in right here, you guys. Dr. Umar is very pro-black. He is against mixing the races. But we're all human beings, in my opinion. And, I don't believe in those things. So I just wanted to put that out there. I don't agree with him on the race stuff. But let's listen, because I do agree with him about these kids being transitioned. I think it's a crime. That is my opinion.
You don't award them. You don't highlight that. Instead, you highlight a confused child who has been allowed by parents and society to physically mutilate himself.
Again, I'm not sure if he did or not.
Destroy forever his God-given obligation to reproduce himself.
Mm-hmm.
And the NAACP is going to hold that example up as the example of a hero. That organization has never been what we needed it to be. I used to be a member. I started a chapter in college. And I'm officially done with the NAACP until there is a change of direction. You've never been a revolutionary group. You spend all your time and money registering black people to go vote for white people. You do nothing else. You fight against nothing relevant, but you found time to create an award for a child abuse victim who was allowed by parents and society to mutilate himself sexually and change into something that God did not intend him to be.
Amen.
This is insane.
Insane.
And what makes this situation even more ridiculous is the fact that in the field of psychology, which I've studied for nearly 30 years, probably more than, in the field of child psychology, we are taught expressly that children don't know who they are. That children will flirt and fantasize about all types of identities that they want to assume. And that adolescence and pre-adolescence is a time for children to explore who they are becoming, not to select it.
Exactly.
If you read the books on child development put out by white psychologists and child development experts, it tells you children don't know who they are. And they have to go through the growing pains to find out who they are. So you want me to believe that Zion Wade, a biological boy, turned 11 or 12 years old, and all of a sudden, he's able to defy all logic and common sense as it relates to child development. And at the age of 11 or 12, he now knows as a biological preteen. He started going through this as a preteen, as a biological preteen. He's now intelligent enough and worldly enough and experienced enough to make a decision as a preteen that I don't want to have children as a man. I don't want to live as a man. And I want to spend the rest of my life as a artificial female.
You guys, let me cut in. So I just want to say this for myself. Lots of people know that they are gay or lesbian. They know it when they're kids, when they start to be interested in the same sex, right? But trans kids, little kids, how do they know? I remember when I was a little girl, I had brothers. I didn't have a sister. And I wanted to be like my older brother. Like I played touch football. I played Army, Navy. We played BMX Bandits was what we named it. Like we got on bicycles and we rode around. I mean, I played in the mud and the dirt. And I even wanted to wear my brother's shirts. Okay. I was a little girl. And you could say that I was a tomboy. But as I got older, I came out of that. And I liked things that girls liked. I didn't even like baby dolls when I was little. Could you imagine if my mother had asked me, do you think you're trans? And she'd started me on that road, which some kids are given these mutilating drugs when they're little. And then they have micro penises, right? That they can't. Remember Josh Jennings and all the problems that he's biologically a little boy. And when he went to have the surgery to make a vajayjay, he didn't have enough tissue there. His penis was micro, not even maybe the size of a pinky. And so they had to use his rectum to make the introitus, which is the canal of the vagina, right? And imagine how this little boy must feel, biologically a boy, and given drugs so young that his pee-pee didn't have enough time to develop. What kind of pleasure is this child going to have? Right? And he suffered from depression. That was all put out there on the show. Gained a ton of weight. And his mother pisses me off royally, okay? Because they used this and became rich and famous, right? But what's going to happen to the rest of his life? That show, I didn't watch it all. I saw some of it on YouTube. That is what, even though I knew that it was wrong to do that to children, that and all the struggles that child has been through is what made me see this as a crime against children. But anyway, let's get back to Dr. Umar.
You are out of your mind. How can we see this as healthy? How can we see this as normal? No disrespect to you, Dwayne Wade. No disrespect to you, Gabrielle Union. And to little Zion, no disrespect to you. I don't hold Zion Wade responsible for what has been done to you at all. You are a child, and your parents and your community should have never allowed you to make this decision as a child. Should you have chosen to do so upon your 18th birthday, they have no control. But as a teenager, you're only 15. You started going through this process at 11 or 12, a preteen. You had no right to do this. I do not fault you, Zion. I hold you not responsible at all. It is the job of parents to guide our children into who they are supposed to be. Which takes me to a comment that Dwayne Wade made during the acceptance speech. Which takes me to a comment that Dwayne Wade made during his acceptance speech. D. Wade said, quote, "As your father, my job is not to direct your future."
As your father,
excuse me?
My job isn't to create a version of myself.
As your father,
your future.
My job is not to direct your future. Excuse me? As your father, my job is not to direct your future.
Listen to
Excuse
this,
me,
you
Mr.
guys.
Dwayne Wade. Yes, it is. It is the job of parents to direct children's futures while they are children. Yes, it is. What do you mean it's not your job to direct your child's future? Yes, it is. What is your definition of a parent, may I ask? What is your definition of a parent, may I ask? What is your definition of a parent, may I ask? And then you go on to say, brother, quote, my role is to be a facilitator of your hope, your wishes, and your dreams. My role is to be a facilitator of your hope, your wishes, your dreams. Yes, Dwayne, as long as they coincide with our culturally affirmed norms and expectations for black boys and black men. A black father's job is not to stand by, let the child think they know what they want to do, and then support the child in whatever they do, even at the cost of their physical health and psychological sanity. You are not there as an escort. You are a guiding leader in the life of your child. You're not an escort. You're talking like your job is just to escort your son through life and let him do whatever the hell he wants. If that's the case, why do we need parents at all? Why don't we just let children live on their own at the age of 7 or 8 or 9 when they're old enough to feed themselves and go to the bathroom and walk? Why do children need parents? Why do they need parents? Why can't they just go live on their own? Because according to your logic, Dwayne Wade, it's not your job to direct your son's future. It's not your job to direct his future. Your job is to facilitate his wishes and dreams.
Sad.
You're telling me as a black man, your job is to facilitate your biological son's wish and dream to become a woman. I know you know better than that. I know you know better than that. And Gabrielle Union,
I can't stand her.
you seem extremely happy
Yep.
and elated to be the stepmom of this confused young man. I don't know what you went through in your life, but I have never seen a black woman so happy to push sexual confusion on a child that is not even her own biologically.
Yes.
Something's wrong here. We need some deep-seated African cultural therapy, because this is a cultural issue. We need some African cultural therapy. This is exactly why we cannot forget who we are. This is exactly why we can't throw away our culture. This is exactly why we cannot allow children to make adult decisions.
Okay, you guys, I totally agree with his take on Miss Gabrielle Union. I've said it from the beginning that, in my opinion, I'm not in their house, but it seems to most people out here that she is pushing this. And guess what? It's getting them so much attention. And what's going to happen to that child when he realizes his life is messed up? What's going to happen to him?
Isn't it ironic that Zion Wade is old enough to change his gender? He's old enough to decide he wants to be a woman, but he ain't old enough to buy a gun.
Exactly.
He ain't old enough to vote.
Exactly.
He ain't old enough to do a whole bunch of things. But society says he's old enough to decide to live his life as a woman, as a teenager. And this is what the NAACP is spending your money on. Excuse me, NAACP.
It's garbage.
Excuse me, NAACP. What about police genocide? How much money do y'all spend on the Image Awards? Because you're using the Image Awards to destroy the image of black people.
Yep.
I hope you know this. Can somebody please tell the National Association for the Advancement of Certain Light-Skinned Colored People that the NAACP Image Awards is destroying the image of black people? That's what you're doing. Promoting this type of stuff in front of our children, you're destroying. I thought you were a civil rights organization.
Cancel NAACP.
So you mean to tell me childhood transgenderism is more important than police brutality? Childhood transgenderism is more important than mass incarceration. Childhood transgenderism is more important than gentrification, homelessness, economic apartheid, black on black genocide, all the problems we got. And you decide to highlight this.
Yep.
This is exactly why the NAACP gets no respect. Let's look at what Gabrielle Union had to say.
Before we get to her speech, which she looked like, in my opinion, a damn crazy lunatic. She was making faces. Go see it, you guys, online. She looked like she was angry as hell during that speech. But this woman, in my opinion, is just very problematic. And in my opinion, she's pushing this. And also, to make a comment about the NAACP, I think that they don't serve a purpose. Way back in the day, they really did. You know, they served a purpose. But now, like, what he said about mass incarceration and the most important thing, the black on black genocide, as he called it, black on black crime, black people killing one another, this horrible murder music that the kids are listening to, which desensitizes them, and they go out and commit crimes against one another. Why aren't they addressing that? And as I said before, the young lady that was killed by her so-called friends in Mexico, why aren't they trying to help this family to get justice for her? You know, I don't think they serve a purpose anymore. And that is my opinion. Now let's get to his thoughts on Gabrielle.
Sister Gabrielle, you said, quote,
will we fight for some?
Will we fight for some?
Or will we fight for all of our people?
Or will we fight for all of our people? Will we fight for some? Or will we fight for all of our people? Our sister Gabrielle Union begged the question during her acceptance speech. Will we fight for some? Or will we fight for all of our people? Let me answer that, my beautiful African sister. We fight for all of our people. We fight for their right to live. Mm-hmm. We fight for their right to work. We fight for their right to get an education. We fight for their right to have a decent life.
Yes.
We fight for their right to practice their African culture and their customs. We fight for their right to be protected from violence. We do not fight for the right of children to transform themselves into the opposite sex. We don't fight for that. We don't fight for that. And what you're not going to do, Gabrielle Union, NAACP, DWYANE Wade, or anybody else, is try to equate the fight for black equality and survival with an acceptance for transgenderism amongst children who have no business making those decisions in the first place.
Children.
You have lost your mind.
They are not
adults. If you think we're going to sit by and let you eclipse all of the real problems we have as black people in this country right now. We are catching hell in every area possible, and you think you're going to pull the Barack Obama. You think we're going to let you pull the Barack Obama. Barack Obama took LGBT issues and eclipsed everything else that mattered in black America. Joe Biden took black LGBTQ issues and covered up everything else that matters in black America. And now the NAACP Image Awards with Gabrielle and DWYANE, you think you're going to take this issue, of childhood transgenderism. I can't even believe I need to say those words. I can't believe that Black America has allowed those two words to marry each other. I'm so distraught and disappointed in us as a people, because this is not just DWYANE and Gabrielle. You got Negroes, not just LGBTQs either. You got Black people running around thinking this is cute. Thinking it's cute to dress your sons up as little girls. Thinking it's cute to dress your girls up as little boys. This is destruction of the Black family. This is genocide of the African race.
You guys, let me just cut in. Yes, like I said, he's very, for the Black culture, which, I am too. But this is not just a Black issue. This is a childhood American issue. It's not just happening in Black people, you guys. We have to protect these children. It's sad. It's criminal, in my opinion.
The reason they want our children to transgenderize themselves, the reason they want our children to transgenderize themselves, the reason they want our children to transgenderize themselves is it will eliminate and prevent the birthing of new Black life. How can we not understand that? How can we not understand that? A sex change for a child? A sex change for a child? A sex change for a child? And we wonder why God don't help Black people. We wonder why God don't help Black people. Are you telling me that you go to sleep at night and you think God is okay with this decision? You're out of your mind.
Amen. Amen.
You're out of your mind. I'm sorry. White America does not dictate the family values of Black America. White society does not dictate the family values of Black society.
Okay, remember, you guys, what I said about his Afrocentric views and stuff. Yes, I'm a Black person. I want our race to excel in everything, in every way. But we are all Americans, and this is not just a Black issue, you guys.
This is wrong. It is humane.
It is inhumane.
It is child abuse,
yes,
and it is a crime against humanity.
Yes.
Allowing transgenderism amongst children is a crime against humanity, and I do not support it.
And you guys, it is against God. God made them boys and he made them girls. And it's like a slap in God's face that you think that he made you wrong, that you were put in the wrong body. That is a slap and affront to God Almighty. And this country is going to suffer for that.
What would America do if they found out a Black country somewhere was letting children mutilate their genitalia? They would call it a human rights crime, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But now that America is doing it, it's acceptable. Now that America is doing it, it's acceptable. They'll go to a country that practice childhood mutilation, and it is wrong, where they remove certain parts of the woman's reproductive anatomy.
You guys remember, I don't remember which African countries, but they were removing the pleasure zone for women. Remember, I don't want to say the word, but it starts with a C. They were taking that away from young girls at 12, 13 years old, because when they would get married, it was only supposed to be pleasurable for the man, and they're only there to reproduce. Remember that? It was a big thing. And the United States was all upset about the mutilation of the private parts of young girls in some African countries. And now what's going on here, huh? It has nothing to do with anything good. I promise you that.
It is wrong. And I condemn any African who engages in such a ridiculous European practice that was introduced by our enslavers and colonizers. It is wrong. But how does America with a straight face go into an African country and say mutilating the genitalia of little girls is wrong when you will turn around and let them do it right here in your own country and call it transgenderism, and all of a sudden it's acceptable? And all of a sudden, it's acceptable. This is wrong. I'm not wishing nobody no harm. I don't wish harm against nobody. But this is wrong. And to elevate this kind of psychopathology to the level of a human rights champion, human rights issue, human rights campaign is ridiculous. All we're doing is campaigning for the destruction of the black family. All we're doing is campaigning for the extermination of African life. All we're doing is complaining for African racial genocide. Childhood transgenderism is genocide. Can't you see the reason they want the children transgenderized as children is if they can clip their ability to reproduce as children, they'll never have to worry about them having babies as adults. If they can transgenderize black children, they'll never have to worry about them having children as adults.
Not just in the black community.
Now Zion Wade has been transformed into an artificial woman. He will never impregnate a black queen and reproduce his bloodline. What in the hell are we doing to our children? And y'all call Barack Obama a hero.
Huh. Not me.
And y'all call Barack Obama a hero.
He's not.
And then Gabrielle Union said, quote, intersectionality of black rights and LGBT continues to be rough. She said intersectionality of black rights and LGBT continues to be rough. She said intersectionality of black rights.
He definitely gets on my nerves when he repeats things 3 times. But in this case, go ahead, Dr. Umar, make your point.
And LGBT continues to be rough. Sister Gabrielle, it's not rough. It's non-existent. There is no intersectionality. You know why? Because all LGBTs are black. They suffer as black.
Yeah.
And I will fight for them as black.
Yes.
Their right to be a black person in America, to live, to work, to enjoy, to build, to create. I will not fight for their right to practice that.
I totally agree. They are black first. And they have the right to live and work as anyone else. They have the right to feel safe and not to be harmed. But children, come on now, y'all. This is bullshit when it comes to these children. They cannot make those types of decisions. You guys go online and see how many children, how many transitioned as children and are now young adults in their early 20s, and they want to detransition. Some girls who have mutilated they've taken their breasts, they've had bilateral mastectomies, and now they regret it. Go look at all those videos and how their lives have, I don't want to say ruined because they are still alive and healthy, but they are completely different and they regret it.
I wish no harm against nobody. There is no intersectionality between black justice and LGBTQ because we're not fighting for the right to have sex with people of the same gender. We're fighting for the right to exist as black people. Do not confuse that. Do not confuse a pursuit to have a relationship with someone of the same gender with a pursuit for justice and equality as human beings. We're not fighting for the right to do something. We're fighting for the right to exist. Stop trying to hijack the black justice movement for the benefit of childhood transgenderism. We're not going to accept it. You know why? Because many of us believe in African culture. Many of us believe in God's universe.
Yes.
And we do not accept childhood transgenderism.
And that's my issue with this. It is so wrong and against God to be doing this to children. They are children. God help us.
And we do not agree with adult transgenderism. We respect them as human beings. So if somebody was trying to attack a black transgender, we will stand up for black life.
Yes.
If somebody's trying to attack a transgender black kid, we will stand up for black life. But what we're not going to do is allow you to rename this fight away from black equality, away from black rights, away from black justice. We're not going to let you rename this a fight for LGBTQ. You will not co-opt the Black Power movement. You will not co-opt the Black Justice movement. If black LGBTs want rights as LGBTs, they have to fight that fight for themselves. But as far as their life being protected, as far as their right to exist, to be safe from harm, we will fight for them as black people.
Because guess what? The world will see you and your black skin before they even know if you're transgender, any member of the LGBTQ community. So, Gabrielle Union, you guys, my stomach flips that I do not like her, okay? And I know that's wrong because I don't really know her, but from just this and my impression of her pushing this, I don't like her.
But we will never add any clarifying remarks about their persuasion, sexual orientation, or sexual preferences. That has nothing to do with the black power struggle. No transgenders walked off that slave ship. No transgenders picked cotton. None. You're talking about a fight to see to it that an entire race of people survive, and you're trying to manipulate that into an agenda item for sexually confused Africans. We don't agree. We don't agree. I believe in protecting all black life. I have no problem with that. But if you're asking me to fight for a right to get married to somebody of the same gender, I disagree. I will not disrespect you. I will not insult you, but I will not support anything that threatens the survival of the nuclear black family, the black community, or the African race. You just took a husband away from somebody's daughter. That's what y'all did. You just destroyed one more potential black family with this transgender child abuse.
Child abuse.
Transgender child abuse. That's exactly what it is. And then Gabrielle said, black trans are being targeted, terrorized, and hunted. Black trans are being targeted, terrorized, and hunted. Black trans are being targeted, terrorized, and hunted. Gabrielle Union, isn't that true for all black people? Gabrielle Union, isn't that true for all black people? So why are you reducing our fight with a focus, an exclusive focus on transgenders? Why are you not fighting for all black people who are hunted, terrorized, and targeted? Why are you only concerned about LGBTQIA black people who are targeted and hunted? All black people in this country are being targeted and hunted and terrorized. So let me get this right. You don't want to fight for all black people. You just care about transgender blacks and LGBT blacks, but you want heterosexual blacks to fight for the LGBTQs, although you don't include us in your argument for a need for protection. Do you see the hypocrisy, Gabrielle Union? Do you see the hypocrisy, Gabrielle Union? You want to hijack the Black freedom movement for LGBTQ purposes, but you won't even speak up about the issues that heterosexual black people are having in this society. How about we all fight for black life? We can agree on that. We can fight for black life, black equality, black justice. We can all fight for that. But we can't all fight for transgenderism of children, because that's child abuse. That is child abuse. That is a cultural and a spiritual disgrace. And the fact that the NAACP rewarded y'all for that is insane.
Yes, it is spiritual, you guys. What is happening? The devil, I always say this, is walking this earth. And he is the ruler over many because they don't put God first. And now these children are going to suffer once they realize what they've done. And the parents who don't give a damn, in my opinion, it's something popular and cute, right? This country, and I'm an American, you know, I'm an American, I'm a black American, but this country will suffer for what it is allowing to happen to children. That's my opinion, because God will not sleep on this. God does not sleep.
What's coming next? A comic book? Are we going to get a comic book for Zaya? Are we going to get a cartoon for Zaya? Is Zaya going to get her own TV show? Are you a part of the deep state? Dwayne Wade, are you a part of the deep state?
Look, he's asking if Dwayne Wade is part of the deep state. My opinion of Dwayne Wade, he's got his head so deep up Gabrielle Union's ASS, he don't know if he's coming or going. He's just following, that is my opinion, like a sick little puppy, and she's directing. That is what it looks like to me.
What in the hell is going on in that house of yours? Because this is insane, brother. I'm not here to tear you down or disrespect you, but this is insane. He is a child. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to close it down on that. I don't need to say no more. I think I've made my point clear. I know one thing. The Honorable Marcus Garvey was absolutely right when he prophesied. The Honorable Marcus Garvey was absolutely right when he prophesied. The Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey was absolutely right when he prophesied that if the black man and woman of America are not careful, if the black man and woman of America are not careful, you will drink in all the poison of Western civilization. He said you will drink in all the poison of Western civilization and you will die from the effects of it. Brothers and sisters, please don't commit cultural genocide. Please don't commit historical amnesia. Please don't let the white power structure brainwash you into supporting systems of black family destruction. Childhood transgenderism is child abuse, it is a human rights abuse, and it is a system of traditional black family destruction and African racial genocide. This is your brother. Peace and Pan-Africanism.
So you guys, This was powerful, which is why I wanted to share it with all of you. The only thing I disagree with Dr. Umar on, this isn't just a Black issue. It is a child issue. It is a child abuse issue, in my opinion, also. And it's not just Black children. There are children of every race and culture here in the United States who are being mutilated chemically with those medications. So we have to do something about this, you guys. It is horrible. It is wrong. If you believe in God, we have to pray. We have to pray so hard. And I don't know about you, but I will not give my vote in 2024 to any politician who is for this crap, okay? Because it is destroying young people. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments.